Hello, my friends. I had an interesting experience yesterday that I want to share with you something about because it so deeply resonates with what we're talking about here. And it was kind of in a real life situation where I learned how important it is at a deeper level of what I'm sharing about here. So the scenario was that some friends of mine and we want to go and visit an eco village, just to kind of explore, what options are, what is available, what people do. And this is one we've been looking at for a while. And because they have a very strong ethic about full transparency and fully aligned with the divine, really living from that love and from that truth that we are. So some of these things certainly resonate for me, as I'm sure you know, and probably for you too. And but there were a few things that we weren't so sure about. So we had a Zoom meeting with one of the people who are inviting or connecting with new people who want to visit. So we had the conversation and asked a lot of questions. And the bottom line was basically the two main rules for this eco village is you speak your truth and you own your shit. I'm not kidding you. That's basically what they say. And it also tells something about that this is real for them. This is how they want people to live. They want to help create more leaders who are able to speak their truth, without all the stuff that we're still carrying with us, all the attachments that we're still projecting our life through. So it was very, it was very enlivening for me as she was talking about how they do that in the village. One day a week, I think one morning a week, there is the opportunity for all the people who live there to get together. And if there is somebody or if there are people who have issues with each other, they go in there, whatever room they do that at, and then everybody is available, is there, and then there is a facilitator who is helping these people own their shit and speak their truth. And the more she spoke about that, and I could feel in the way she spoke about it herself that she was very grounded in her truth and in the connection to the divine, how important that is to her. It's like that was number one, to really live aligned, so you are able to speak your truth and not hold back in that in the matrix that we all attached to. So as she was speaking, I just started feeling this sense of enlivenment and courage, like a deeper sense of courage. Because what she is basically inviting people into, and I haven't been there, I have no idea what it's going to be like in real life. But the place is set up for that transformation and transmutation to happen. And for those who want that, to live in a community or an eco village like that, that is based on the principles of being fully true to yourself and speak your truth, that's very empowering. But you know what it did to me? I just got this deep felt sense of, my God, if we live in a community where this is the foundation, then it's going to be so okay to be ourselves, to speak our truth. And if there is somebody who doesn't like that and there is a conflict, then there is a space where that can be cleared out, where we each own our own part of that. there might not be anything to own in that interaction, but the other person may need to own, or whatever. It's whatever the dynamics are. There's space for that. So that would mean that it should be 100% safe to fully be yourself. Now, I know that in the world that we live in, that is not the case. It is absolutely not safe and okay to be yourself. It is absolutely not okay to speak your truth, whether it's in public or, to a friend or your parents or whatever it is. It's not okay. We were not raised in that kind of an environment. And that is why we hide. We all have our little pockets, our little parts that we hide, and we don't feel safe letting them be seen or heard, even to ourselves, because we know they will not be accepted. So we have learned to hold back a lot. Let's call these the core wounds that I've talked about, because they go deep and they start early in life. We learn early in life that it's not okay to be ourselves. It's not okay to speak our truth. We have to do what we're told to do. That's almost like the foundation for all of us, where we start like a little amoeba, just shrink in, try not to be seen or heard, and try to fit in and say the things that other people want us to say so they don't get triggered or though they don't get upset. And that is, of course, because they have not learned yet to be present in their own experience. Why am I sharing this today? It's because imagine that we do create groups and circles and gatherings where we literally practice that. And I know there are a lot of those things happening already. And I'm facilitating a few of them myself. But we need more. And we need to take this really to the core. I think when you live in some kind of an environment like, let's say, this eco village, where that is simply what is expected and invited and encouraged, it may not always be comfortable, because we will need to look at some parts of ourselves that we have not been willing to look at, or maybe not able to look at. Maybe it's been too painful. And I don't know what the structure is, if it's done in a loving, spacious way, if it's in a confrontive way. I'm not into confronting. I've been through that myself, which we all probably have. That doesn't work for me anymore. It did for a while. It's like, okay, I better take a look at myself. But now it's just a natural process. So I don't know what it's like, the energy is around it over there. But it did spark me to like, wow, this is really, really important. If we want a world where we live in oneness with each other, we can't live in duality with each other. We can't have issues that are not resolved. And we can't live in duality with ourselves. We need to bring all the parts back into the fold, back into love. We need to be able to meet them with love. And when we do that in here, we can naturally do it out there. There won't be so much fear to speak our truth. I'm not saying we have to speak all the truth, like if we experience something about somebody. It's not like we have to dump our mind on people. But if there's something in an interaction that's not right, and you start feeling you're pulling back, you don't talk to them, you might go talk to somebody else about it because you're afraid to confront them or to have a real hard conversation. Then we walk again. Then again, we have this contraction. Here's this part, and I don't know what to do with it, so I'm going to contract around it. That's an unintegrated part. And we are not letting the divine fullness, the flow of the divine, flush through all of that, so we can keep living as whole beings, as fully integrated, fully flowing, fully divine expressions, if that's what you want. I know that that's not what most people want, but I do know that more and more people do want that. And that is what I see as part of the transition we're going through as we're leaving the old paradigm behind, moving into the new, where we are connecting with the divine outside the field, inside of ourselves, and where we can start connecting and relating more to the divine in others too. So that's, of course, the process that we all need to go through. But just imagine if you lived in a bigger or smaller community, that could just be two people, right? Where we really learn to be so fully open and transparent with each other, where we're able to own our issues, our contractions, misperceptions, whatever they are, but also able to receive it. I know in myself, I can still be hesitant to maybe have a difficult conversation with somebody if I can sense that they're not able to receive it, that they will go right into defense, right? So there is still that, we kind of need to dance and find out, where can we do it until we have a structure where that is the foundation. Hold on, I have a cat trying to get in here. Come on, come on, Chunky. Sorry about that. Yeah, so if we can have that as a ground rule or a ground foundation where we agree to that, where we literally agree to the fact that we are here to speak our truth, to own our truth. That's why you speak your truth and you own your shit, right? Because when we own it, even if we don't know if it's ours yet, we can still own that we have this experience. The hard thing is to not defend ourselves, right? We defend ourselves if we have something we feel that we need to defend. If you are fully open to not being perfect, to expose the parts that are not very evolved yet or whatever, then we can actually also receive it, right? There's like I'm open to hearing if I am offending you, if I'm hurting you in any way. Personally, Pernilla here, I want to know if I'm doing something like that to somebody. I want to know that. I invite them to tell me, but in a kind way, not in a blaming, shaming, forceful way, because then it's not really, then it can't be received. Then it's also not coming from a place of oneness. It's not easy. What I'm sharing here, it's not something that happens overnight. We all have plenty of stuff still that might be unconscious that we keep projecting out. We might project it out through words, or we may just project it in and say, I'm afraid I don't want to say that to somebody. I'm afraid to hurt them, or whatever it is. That's still something going on in here. So the work is deep. And it's an ongoing thing. It's not a quick fix. I know many programs. I see people offering programs online. Some of it sounds like it will be good forever. There's some of these promises that happen in marketing that they sound like quick fixes. Um, I have never experienced that with myself or anybody else yet. It's really is a journey, and we need to get on the journey and start committing to it, and then start meeting. Let's say the goal is to really become a loving expression of the divine. And then as we start moving towards that, we're going to meet all these parts and all these reasons and memories and traumas which tell us, no, do not do that. Protect yourself. Stay safe. Those are the ones that we need to keep meeting with a loving energy, with an openness, with a willingness to fully feel that. And that's when it can start dissolving. So it really is a process, but I can't think of anything else that will make this world into something that we all want. Well, tragedy often does it, right? Then we suddenly leave all our stuff behind because we need to help each other for survival. There's a lot going on in LA with the fires right now. And when there are these disasters, people do get together, but most of the time it doesn't last. So we need to start practicing. We can even ask somebody, is it okay if I share my experience with you? Will you be able to hear me and not defend yourself? I wouldn't say the last part because that in itself can make people defend themselves. But learning to find some ways to say to, where you come to an agreement where we both agree, yeah, it might be hard at times to really hear the truth from the other, but if you can say it in a kind, gentle way, then I really want that. It's a lot. It is a lot, but I don't see any way around it. We need to start with ourselves. We need to clear out our stuff by meeting it, by being fully present in it, by fully experiencing it. So it's not sitting like this. So it starts opening and the energy is being liberated. And that energy that's liberated becomes something that gives us more encouragement, more power, more energy to do it again and again. And because every time we do it, we have more energy available, it gets easier. That's my experience. To the point where it was actually interesting because the woman yesterday, I said something like, that is not right. That's not really true for me. And she says, well, maybe you should look at why you're defending yourself. And I was like, well, maybe she didn't say that harshly. That's probably not right. But she did say the words. And it felt like a little harsh in the moment. I just said, that's actually not my experience. I'm not defending, I'm just not drawn to that, whatever that was we we're talking about. And then afterwards, I thought, I would feel safe enough in her environment. So that was an afterthought, right? And we're going to have a conversation again. So I will actually say to her, the way she said that felt a little harsh. And that was not my experience. I feel safe doing that to her because I know that that's what she is inviting. That's what they are inviting in that eco village. So it feels like when the parameters are set, that this is okay. It's okay to speak your truth and say, that maybe share what impact that had on you. If it's something that sits in there as another contraction, then we can speak it. And then if I know that she's going to receive it because she welcomes it, it's much easier for me to do so. So it gave me a glimmer of like, oh yeah, she actually invited that. And so I might just tell her that if it's still important for me next week. But it's the invitation, isn't it? It's the invitation to speak your truth and own your, and that's okay. It's like, it's okay we have stuff. It's okay we express our experience and our truth. Even if others don't like it, it's still okay because it is our truth. It's still our experience, and we can't deny that. We can pretend it's not there by not speaking it, but we can't deny that our truth is actually our truth. So please let this all sink in and see how that lands for you. If it's something you really are inspired by, to be more of that, to live more in that kind of an environment, that could make a huge, huge difference. And I certainly invite you to explore that. And if you want to explore it with me, I am offering a free webinar this coming Wednesday. The link will be in the description. and where I will talk about more of this and what is possible if we really learn how to move through these layers. You're also welcome to work with me privately, and you can set up a self-discovery session. There will be a link underneath there too. Thank you so much. And hey, let's make this world something really, really beautiful. It's only up to us. Have a great day.